Parliamentarian, you can hear me? It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be with you. Not only a pleasure, it's an honor for former U.S. Congressman Joe DioGuardi and me to be with you today and to accept the Dr. Honoris Causa degree. And I want to thank, where are we here? You, Vice Rector Wilnet Amenti. I want to thank Rector Yusuf Zanelli. And I want to thank Kenan Barati. I think I'm meeting you for the first time. And I also want to thank Artina Kamberi. Artina Kamberi was the person, yes, bravo. Artina Kamberi was the first person who reached out to us, who reached out first to Joe DioGuardi, and then ultimately to me. And she came up with the idea that we should return on behalf of what was done here with us and with the university many, many years ago. And this was 5 years ago when she initiated the process. And I can't thank you enough, and also members of the faculty, the university, for asking Joe, who is the founding member, I think you know, founding president of the Albanian American Civic League, and me, the Civic League's Balkan Affairs advisor, to accept the Dr. Honoris Causa degree. And we want to express our gratitude, actually, to the leadership across the board. I can't name everyone, as you can imagine, the University of Tetovës, to make all of this possible. We're also glad, very happy, that some members of the Albanian American Civic League are with us today in our board. Parliamentarian. Joe and I deeply appreciate the recognition of the work that we did to achieve the restoration of the University of Tetovës. Remember, in 1994, after it was burned down by Macedonian military forces, and its recognition, and finally in 2004, to help the university become, and this is important, I want to repeat this, to become the first Albanian language higher education institution to be established in Macedonia. The first. This is of incredible importance. But we could not have achieved this without our direct connection to the University of Tetovës and its founders. And I would like to pay tribute, first of all, to the late progressive rector, Fadil Suleimani, and to the founder of our university, as you know, of your university, and also notable professors like Abdullah Mehmeti and Murtazan Ismaili. I also want to recognize the late Arben Jafari, who shared his in-depth knowledge of political realities in Macedonia to our diplomatic effort, Joe's and mine, in Washington, D.C. I worked with him, and he worked with me on and off on a weekly basis until the university not until the university was totally established, but until his untimely death. And that was in 2012, and actually that does come after the first major recognition of the university. As you know, the overarching goal of the University of Tetovës and our Albanian American Civic League was to maintain the Albanian identity and language. And if it had not been for Albanian Americans attending the Joe DioGuardi's birthday, 45th birthday, can you imagine, celebration as a new member of Congress, and overhearing, these were Albanian Americans who overheard Joe's father speaking with his younger sister in Arbresh. Joe's Albanian language and history would have been lost, and so too would have been his bringing to national and international attention. the suppression and oppression of Albanians in the Balkans. Joe would go on to become a national hero in Kosovo when he challenged the oppression of Kosovar Albanians by going to the region while in Congress and bringing the brutal Serbian occupation of Kosovo under Serbian dictator Slobodan Milosevic to national and international attention. Joe and I met in 1994, so now we're moving forward, when I was the first book publisher in the United States, specializing in international politics and challenging the rise of Slobodan Milosevic, the Serbian dictator, in an anthology with chapters contributed by members of the opposition to Milosevic from inside the former Yugoslavia. When Joe and I met, he had been banned by Milosevic 4 years earlier. We came together exactly when the University of Tetovës invited Joe to monitor the opening of the university. We traveled to the university together, and this was in February of 1995, along with, and I don't know how many people here will remember this, but it's very important, along with the Yugoslav dissident Mihailo Mihailov. And on the morning of our departure, the Macedonian government attacked the university, killing one student, wounding hundreds, and jailing professors. The day after we landed in New York, we led a demonstration outside the United Nations in support of the University of Tetovës and all Albanians in Macedonia. Now today, we're now in 2025, you're in a very different position than Albanians were in Macedonia 30 years ago. You know that you've come a long way from the challenging times of the early 1990s, and the university has been a leader in calling for equality and inclusion in North Macedonia, and that is still the case at the University of Tetovës. The University of Tetovës, by its very nature, your very nature, embraces equality and inclusion. Thank you for honoring Joe and me, including us in the process. Hvala me dedičem.